European military experts have presented a plan that could offer Ukraine.
Emmanuel Macron says France will provide Ukraine with French-made fighter jets.
Russia's intimidation and profit-making efforts in Ukraine have hit the French barrier in the sky. In the 3-year war, one of Ukraine's biggest problems against Russia was its air defence power. However, French President Emmanuel Macron's latest move has changed all the balances in the war. It was a move that surprised even United States President Donald Trump. French-made Mirage 2005 F fighter jets are now in the skies over Ukraine for the first time against the Russians. With the United States cutting its military support to Ukraine, Ukraine has turned more to the European flank, and France has emerged as a special partner. Recently, French jets, equipped with AASM-guided bombs and Scalp cruise missiles, were delivered to Kiev. The French jets have significantly increased both Kiev's air-to-air and air-to-ground capabilities. Now, one of Ukraine's biggest problems has been overcome with the active deployment of French fighter jets. This week, Russia targeted Ukraine with its most powerful attack in months. Russian missiles are in the air. Their aim is clear: destroy infrastructure, break defences, instill fear. But this time, something was different in the sky. For the first time, Ukraine deployed French-made Mirage 2000 fighter jets. Following the F-16S, these French-made jets gave a powerful response to the Russian Air Force. This performance of the Mirage jets, which surprised even the United States, is likely to be one of Putin's worst nightmares after the F-16S. Is the growing solidarity across Europe for Ukraine, with France taking a leading role, becoming the Kiev government's greatest reassurance at a time of uncertain United States support? So how did the Mirage 2000 jets suddenly achieve such success as soon as they joined the Ukrainian Air Force's inventory? How did these jets prevent the most recent Russian airstrikes? What advantages will these French-made jets be able to provide in the coming days as part of their mission to protect Ukraine's skies? Here, we take a step-by-step look at the initial success of the Mirage 2000 jets, the future role of the F-16 fighters, and how France's multifaceted support will affect the course of the war. For answers to all these important questions and much more, the video begins. Before we begin, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and like to stay up to date with our content. The Ukrainian Air Force has confirmed the operational deployment of Mirage 2005 F fighter jets for the first time. The French-made jets participated in repelling a Russian missile attack targeting critical infrastructure. The strikes involved multiple air defense assets, including surface-to-air missile systems, electronic warfare measures, and fighter jets. Russian forces launched a combined missile and drone strike targeting gas extraction facilities and other infrastructure. Ukrainian radar systems tracked 261 airborne threats, including 67 missiles and 194 drones. The missile component consisted of 35 Kh-101 and Kh-55 SM cruise missiles, 8 Kalibr cruise missiles, 3 Iskander-M ballistic missiles, 4 S-300 surface-to-air missiles used in a ground attack role, and 8 Kh-59 and Kh-69 air-launched missiles. The drone component included 194 Shahid loitering munitions and various types of dummy UAVs. Ukrainian air defences intercepted and engaged the threats using ground-based systems and fighter aircraft, including F-16S and Mirage 2005 Fs. Ukrainian forces reported the destruction of 134 air targets, including 25 Kh-101 and Kh-55 SM cruise missiles, 8 Kalibr cruise missiles, 1 Kh-59 and Kh-69 guided missile, and 100 Shahed UAVs. In addition, at least 10 Russian missiles failed to reach their intended targets, and 86 UAVs were lost without a reported collision. All targets were neutralized by a critical intercept operation involving Mirage 2000 and F-16 fighter jets. This operation was recorded as the first success of the French-made Mirage 2000 AS used by Ukrainian forces for the first time. Moreover, videos where we can see this jet have also emerged. A video reportedly showing a Mirage 2005F in Ukrainian airspace was shared on social media and became the first confirmed image of this jet in the country. The deployment of the aircraft follows France's decision to transfer these fighter jets to Ukraine and modify them for air-to-ground operations. The Mirage 2000S imaged were equipped with the ability to deploy AASM-guided bombs and Scalp cruise missiles and were equipped with electronic warfare systems. So what kind of nightmare could the Mirage 2000S, the new fighters of the sky, become for Russia in the future? With the United States' decision to halt their aid, the French jets have gone from being just an important support to playing a critical role in Ukraine's air defence. Kiev could shift the burden of air compression to the Dassault Mirage 2000 fighters that it bought from France. As you may recall, a consortium of European countries promised Ukraine 85 flight-ready F-16Vs by 2023. The first 18 arrived and one of them crashed, probably after being mistakenly targeted by a Ukrainian missile battery. Agile supersonic fighters have benefited from strong United States support under the administration of former United States President Joe Biden. The Americans helped train pilots, provided spare parts and ammunition, and also deployed a United States Air Force team to program the F-16S underbody AN/ALQ-131 electronic countermeasure pods. An ALQ-131 is a new and critical capability for Ukraine's Air Force as it enters the wider war in February 2022 without significant air interference. Ukraine's F-16S are far better equipped than the country's pre-war ex-Soviet MiG and Sukhoi fighters, and far more capable of protecting themselves and nearby jets from Russian air defences. PIDs launch metal particles and hot-burning flares to deceive incoming radar and infrared-guided anti-aircraft missiles. EKIPS incorporates passive defences to complement the active particles and flares, including the AN/ALQ-162 jammer to overwhelm ground-based radars and an AN/AAR-60 missile warning system to trigger defences. The AN/ALQ-131, in particular, can give you an instant air superiority to reach a target of strategic importance and impact. The Ukrainian Air Force is taking full advantage of the ability of AN/ALQ-131 equipped F-16S to flood Russian radar screens with electronic noise. They act as flying air defence with advanced missile warning technology. But the Russian Air Force could have circumvented the interference by reprogramming their radars to operate on slightly different frequencies. Under Biden, the United States Air Force could have kept pace with Russian adaptation by constantly adjusting the AN/ALQ-131's own frequencies. Under Trump, Ukrainian aviators are left with capsules whose programming may soon be outdated. Fortunately for the Ukrainian Air Force, the surplus Mirage 2000S donated by France come with their own powerful jammers, and no Americans were involved in their programming. France may eventually transfer dozens of supersonic Mirage 2000S. The first half dozen or more are already flying missions in Ukraine. In French Air Force service, the Mirage 2005F flies with a combination of a serval radar warning receiver, a Sabre jammer, and an Eclair chaff and flare dispenser. This suite of electronic countermeasures was at the cutting edge of air combat in the 1980s, but a generation later it began to fall behind. Recognizing this weakness and appreciating the seriousness of the Russian missile threat over Ukraine, the French Defense Ministry has promised to install new electronic countermeasures on Mirage 2000 AUS before transferring them to Ukraine. The ministry was most likely referring to the mostly analog Integrated Countermeasures Suite Mark II, or the fully digital Integrated Countermeasures Suite Mark III. Both installations are an improvement over the old Serval Sabre Eclair combination and a potential replacement for the AN/ALQ-131S, as the American pods lag behind the Russian adaptation. On the other hand, the Mirage 2005F has a maximum speed of Mach 2.2. an operational ceiling of 15,240 metres and mission-dependent range parameters. Equipped with advanced avionics and capable of deploying AASM-guided bombs and Scalp cruise missiles, the Mirage 2005F can perform both air-to-air and air-to-ground missions. This versatility strengthens Ukraine's defensive and offensive operations, potentially compensating for diminishing support from the United States. However, the limited number of these aircraft requires strategic deployment to maximize their impact on the battlefield. The transfer of Mirage 2005F aircraft to Ukraine was first announced by French President Emmanuel Macron in a televised interview on June 6, 2024. Macron stated that France would provide Ukraine with these aircraft and train 4,500 pilots. The announcement did not specify the number of aircraft to be delivered or their source. In October 2024, French Defence Minister Sébastien Lecornu confirmed that 6 Mirage 2005F aircraft would be transferred along with a support package. The aircraft were modified at Cazaux to integrate air-ground capabilities. Training for Ukrainian pilots and maintenance personnel took place at Nancy Air Base in France, where the 2-3 Champagne Squadron trained using 7 Mirage 2000B training aircraft. The first 3 Mirage 2005F aircraft were delivered in early 2025, with the remaining 3 scheduled for delivery in the first quarter of the year. The reallocation of these aircraft required adjustments within the French aerospace forces. Prior to the transfer, 28 Mirage 2005F aircraft were in service and assigned to Groupe de Chasse 1-2 Cigognes and Escadron de Chasse 311 Course for air defence missions. These units operated from bases such as Luxeuil-les-Bains and Djibouti. The transfer entailed an operational reorganisation that increased the reliance on Rafale and Mirage 2000D aircraft. General Stéphane Mille, Chief of Staff of the French Air Force, stated that the reduction in Mirage 2005F units would accelerate Rafale F4 deliveries. However, concerns were expressed about a temporary reduction in the number of operational fighter jets. In addition to the concerns, the production and development process of the fighter jet was also one of the striking elements. The Mirage 2000 was developed in the late 1970s as a single-engine delta-wing aircraft to replace the Mirage Thys and Mirage F1. The first prototype flew in 1978, and the aircraft entered service with the French Air Force in 1984. Originally designed for air superiority, later variants were developed for ground attack and strategic strike missions, including the Mirage 2005, which was introduced in the 1990s and featured upgrades to radar, avionics, and weapons systems. It is equipped with the Thales RDY radar, which enables multiple target tracking and engagement. The fighter jet supports Mika infrared and radar-guided missiles. This allows it to track 8 enemy aircraft simultaneously while engaging 4 enemy aircraft simultaneously. This is a serious advantage when confronted with Russia's dwindling but still dangerous Su-30 and Su-35 fleet. France has upgraded part of its Mirage 2000C fleet to the Mirage 2005F standard, improving sensors and defence systems while retaining its air defence role. These aircraft were previously used in NATO air police missions. How do the French jets compare to the F-16? At first glance, the F-16 and the Mirage 2005 look like distant cousins. Both are multi-role fighters. Both excel in air-to-air combat and precision ground attacks, and both have similar size, weight, and combat radius. The F-16S in Ukraine's inventory are equipped with the AN radar and can carry an impressive array of precision-guided munitions, as well as the formidable AM-120 AMRAAM. The Mirage 2005 SRDY radar has a similar detection range of about 100 to 120 kilometers, which means it is equally capable in air combat. But this is where things get interesting. While some might think that the Mirage 2005 is just a fast-moving annoyance for Russian pilots, it actually offers a huge advantage. They are capable of locally launching Storm Shadow missiles, one of the most feared weapons in Ukraine's arsenal. Ukraine has been using the old Su-24MR bomber to launch Storm Shadow missiles at Russian targets with great success. The British-French MBDA team even managed to MacGyver the missile onto Soviet-era Su-24S using old Tornado jet pylons. What is the secret? The integration is far from perfect. The missile needs to be pre-programmed before takeoff, and there is little or no integration with the Su-24S flight systems. But the Mirage 2005 solves this problem. With full integration into the aircraft's flight and weapons management systems, Mirage can deploy Storm Shadow with much greater accuracy, flexibility, and reliability. And that is something Russia's air defense network is definitely not excited about. Another advantage? The Mirage 2005 is a smaller, more agile launch platform compared to Ukraine's bulky tactical bomber Su-24MR. This makes it harder for Russian radars to detect it before it gets dangerously close. And given that Russia's air defences are already struggling to keep up with Ukraine's creative missile tactics, adding one system will not make their job any easier. The transfer of these fighter jets to Ukraine is a concrete demonstration of Paris-Kiev cooperation. Moreover, with its military support to Ukraine, France has become one of the critical players shaping the dynamics on the battlefield. Especially with the uncertainty of United States aid, the weapons systems provided by Paris have become even more important for Kiev. Chief among these are Caesar self-propelled howitzers, known for their high precision and mobility. France has delivered multiple Caesar units to the Ukrainian army, which are capable of rapid redeployment and accurate and effective counterstrikes against Russian artillery. France also played an important role in armoured vehicle support. The AMX-10 RC vehicles, referred to as light tanks due to their 105mm cannons and high mobility, have been one of the most prominent assets in the Ukrainian theatre. In addition, negotiations are ongoing on the possible transfer of other armoured platforms such as the VAB to Ukraine. France has also provided Ukraine with critical capabilities in air defence and anti-tank systems. Mistral manpads provide short-range defence against low-flying aircraft and helicopters, while Milan anti-tank missiles have long been a reliable weapon in NATO armies. These systems enhance Ukraine's ability to counter armoured Russian troops. France's contribution is not limited to large weapon systems. Logistical support, such as 155mm artillery shells for Caesar howitzers, spare parts, communication platforms, night vision equipment, medical kits, and personal protective equipment, are among the elements that strengthen Kiev's combat capacity. These deliveries may not be as large-scale as sophisticated fighter jets or advanced ballistic missile systems, but they fill a vital gap for the Ukrainian army in terms of close air support, artillery superiority, and effective tactical solutions against armoured units. France has participated in training programs for Ukrainian soldiers, whether within France or in partnership with other European countries offering training facilities. Given the complexity of operating advanced systems such as Caesar artillery and upgraded Mirage 2005 aircraft, these training sessions are vital. French military personnel helped integrate these new tools into Ukraine's defence framework by providing extensive briefings on tactical doctrines, logistical maintenance, and strategic use of Western-supplied equipment. On the financial side, France has allocated multiple tranches of funding to facilitate arms purchases for Ukraine, either through direct shipments or guarantees allowing Kiev to purchase equipment from private suppliers. France's diplomatic efforts should not be overlooked. While Paris loudly condemned the invasion, President Macron continued to engage in dialogue with Russian officials and tried to find possible ways to reduce tensions. At the same time, the French leader continued to work for the security of Europe. The summit in Paris was a clear example of this. Emmanuel Macron spoke to European Union members about the main points they need to make regarding the Russian invasion. He called on Europeans to increase their defence investments to ensure their own security. Macron stressed the need to spend more and better on European defence, and to take quick decisions at both national and European level to increase autonomy and common power. The French leader acknowledged that European partners have reinvested in defence in recent years, but noted that many still rely heavily on the United States. Macron also pointed out that the United States is no longer Europe's priority. Asked whether France plans to intervene militarily in Ukraine, Emmanuel Macron said that his country does not intend to send troops to fight, but remains committed to negotiations for a lasting peace. However, Macron noted that France and its allies could play a role in guaranteeing Ukraine's security if a peace agreement is reached. The French leader also emphasised that Europe wants a lasting peace in accordance with international law. The United Kingdom is the biggest supporter of Macron's ideas. The proposal, backed by the United Kingdom and France, envisages a 30,000 European troop presence in Ukraine, supported by Western air and naval power, where key infrastructure such as nuclear power plants are located. Under the plan, the front line would be largely monitored remotely using drones and other technologies. Air forces stationed outside Ukraine would be kept in reserve to deter violations and reopen Ukrainian airspace to commercial flights. This could include American air forces. Europeans say they will need United States help with air and missile defences to build a strong European peacekeeping force. Other important capabilities the United States could provide include logistics, intelligence, and air power. Without Donald Trump's support, Europe's burden could become even heavier. As we can see, France is becoming a key actor, not only for Ukraine but also for the security of Europe as a whole. Paris is fully backing Kiev, not only with military aid, but also with economic and diplomatic support. Critical defence systems, from French fighter jets to armoured vehicles, have become a symbol of Ukraine's resistance. But France's support is not limited to weapons on the ground. In the diplomatic arena, Emmanuel Macron continues to staunchly defend Ukraine's independence. All these developments show that France-Ukraine relations are on an increasingly strong footing. But how will this cooperation affect the course of the war? The coming days may be marked by a deepening of France's critical role for Ukraine. We hope that this strong solidarity will accelerate not only Ukraine's resistance, but also its journey towards peace.